First Bank, we got to start. We had Ari in at the beginning of the day at 7:30, and she spoke so highly of you.
That's very sweet. I did catch part of her interview, and I would also have a long list of accolades to say about Ari.
Well, she called you her best friend.
Well, that's so sweet. We have been attached at the hip for a long time. I know she shared that we started working together in the tourism world and as volunteers on the Clinton Half Marathon Committee. She always says I discovered her.
That's right.
And then, we've stuck together. And when I started at Citizens First, she came along just a couple years after that. So we were able to recruit her. And as you know, it's really pretty rare for a bank of our size and in this market to have a full graphics and video and social media marketing department within the bank. But we feel pretty fortunate to have Ari on the team.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And she was most impressed by the way you spoke her native language.
Yeah, so that is any time that I'm asked what is my proudest accomplishment, I say learning Spanish because I learned as an adult. I went all through the Clinton High School, Clinton School's Spanish curriculum, all through Spanish 5 with Linda Trott. And at that time I thought, oh, I'm pretty fluent. I soon realized in trying to speak with native speakers that I was not fluent. So I studied so hard, Gary. I listened to music in Spanish. I read books in Spanish. I wrote down every word. I think my Spanish-English dictionary was under my pillow at one point. And then I did the immersion language program through Peace Corps. So I really came out of that as doing pretty well.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I gave it a lot of time.
You've got to say something. What can
In
we
Spanish?
have you say?
Oh,
Yeah.
anything you want.
Oh, talk about the community involvement of Citizens First Bank.
In Spanish?
Yes.
Sure. El Banco Citizens First está muy involucrado en la comunidad y con mucho orgullo de siempre estar involucrado con los eventos y los comités de la comunidad.
So what'd you just say? It sounded...
Man, you really put me on the spot.
It sounded great.
Thank you. I said Citizens First Bank is a community bank, and we're so proud to be part of the community, the committees, and events that make it our community.
So do you and Ari sometimes when you guys want to say something and you don't want nobody...
we speak in code.
Yes.
We just switch to Spanish.
Do you really?
Well, there's honestly, the honest answer to that is there's so many more Spanish speakers now. You can't just assume nobody understands you. So if we have something top secret to say, that doesn't really happen. But yeah, sometimes you can kind of use a little slang or some code words in Spanish. But there's just many Spanish speakers everywhere now.
And crazy. and this came about because of the Peace Corps?
Yeah, so I always had an interest in the language learning aspect. I've always loved to travel. I've been many places. I'm fortunate to have traveled all over the world. But speaking Spanish was really, I needed to speak Spanish in my Peace Corps role. So I was part of a food security and agriculture program in Nicaragua, and talking with my neighbors, talking with the community, my counterparts at the ag, they're like ag ministry basically is what it is. I had to have pretty technical Spanish.
That's interesting. Well, let's talk about community involvement.
Absolutely, in English.
In English.
Sure, I did. I wanted to list a few, you're so generous with hosting Ladies' Day, and we love to be part of it. Citizens First, we have really ramped up our community involvement with some key sponsorships. So I kind of wanted to list a few of those that are coming up just to make sure your audience and your listeners are aware. We have had the pleasure of participating with several Synergy projects. So Synergy, the project-based learning through Clinton High. And tomorrow is actually the Blessing in Bundles community baby shower. So Citizens First has supported that group with some donations. And then tomorrow we'll give some volunteer time to those students. And that's just been a great project.
So tell me about this project.
Yeah, so there are 3 young ladies from Clinton High who saw a need for expectant mothers and new mothers and their families just for the basic necessities, diapers, wipes, clothing, blankets, cribs, strollers, because there are so many expenses at that time. So they did a broad fundraiser and drive for those materials. And then tomorrow they're working with different organizations to bring some of those families in to to do drawings and raffles and sort of a party to distribute some of those items. So we're going to help out.
That Synergy program, and it's still relatively new at Clinton High School. I know Bill Mishevitz had a big part of it when it got started. I think Kellen Schneeberger's involved
Yep.
with it right now.
Yeah, and Beth Franks is the other instructor.
Okay.
They do a really nice job of encouraging independent learning for the students. And so the students are encouraged to see the needs in the community and identify what organizations they want to work with. Like I mentioned, they have reached out to Citizens First in different capacities. They, of course, a lot of times they're looking for some sort of monetary donation or sponsorship, but we like to think creatively with them to say, what are your other needs? So for the Blessing and Bundles, they had a storage situation. They were piling up all these diapers and wipes and baby materials and needed some assistance with that. So we partnered then with Northbridge Mini Storage, and that was a win because the students learned through the project just the different aspects of what they were doing.
I could see where you would have been a part of Synergy when you were
Oh,
in
for
high
sure,
school.
without a doubt. You know, and in my era, it was really, student council was such a thing. You know, we did a lot of the fundraising
Yeah.
and event planning through that, so I was always deeply involved with that. But my son Joaquin is in Synergy, and he, same thing, you know, a lot of independent learning, and just, it's really cool to see the students coming into their own young adulthood through some of the skills they're learning.
Synergy program, is that more for like the upperclassmen?
I think it's restricted to sophomores and up, but you'll see more juniors and seniors
Yeah.
for sure. And they do a podcast, and they have sort of all these little adventures they're on.
Yes.
The other Synergy project that we're looking forward to, Citizens First, is supporting Empower Her. And they are doing like a young women's leadership event. So that is coming up in April. I don't have a lot of information on that one, but again, another Synergy project that is in the works.
It's amazing the projects that they take on, and I imagine they have to do somewhat of a brainstorming and, you know, kind of throw things and see what sticks.
I think they also learn a lot about the organizations in the community through it. I'm sure, you know, as a kid growing up and going through school, your world is pretty limited to what you know through your family and whatever activities you're involved in, your church, et cetera. And then through this, it's really exposure to what other community organizations exist and the different businesses if you're out seeking sponsorships, and it's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
YWCA Women of Achievement.
So Citizens First Bank is the title presenting sponsor for Women of Achievement. We always typically have someone involved in the YW board. So Kelly Goodsman-Smith represents the bank on the YW board at this time. And then we really enjoy supporting that Women of Achievement evening. It's a very special tradition for the Y. And the committee and the YW staff does such a nice job of honoring those women and really putting the spotlight on the achievements of women in business and women in the county and the community. And so I know the honorees were just recently released, but we're just super proud to be part of that and to be the presenting sponsor.
We got the YWCA, Shannon and Jen are going to be coming in later today on Ladies' Day, and we'll talk more about that. But this has been around for some time, the Women's of Achievement.
It has, and they also, I have noticed in the years that I've attended, you know, either representing the bank or as a former YW board member, the Women of Achievement, it's basically a society. You know, they really empower one another. They attend the event. They reach out to lift up the new honorees. It's just a really positive impact. And Shannon and her committee do such a good job of, like, basically identifying a theme that is just really positive, and I think we need that. So it's a pretty cool event.
And, you know, they also include, like, isn't there a high school student that's a part of this?
Yes, there's a young woman of achievement.
Yeah.
They do a business honoree, a religious woman of achievement, county professional. They really kind of get under each different category to find someone special.
Have you been named yet?
I have not.
Gosh,
But you know
people.
what? I'm really active on that, the involvement of the bank. And so that to me is just the perfect way to stay involved.
Okay. Coming up will be a check of the weather and then more with Carrie Donaire on Ladies' Day.
You already know that Whimsy Apothecary in Clinton has a great selection of stones, rocks, crystals, teas, herbs, and much more. And now they have new winter shopping hours. Whimsy Apothecary is now open daily from noon until 5 p.m. Come see what's new for you at Whimsy Apothecary, 126 5th Avenue South, next to Albert's Jewelers in Clinton. Follow them on Facebook.
It's time now on KROS for the Storm Track 8 weather forecast, brought to you by Frary Lumber.
Your Friday is going to be a day worth getting outside for. Soak up the sunshine, the really warm temperatures. There will be gusty winds and high fire danger, so no outdoor burning today. We'll see temperatures soar into the mid to upper 60s. For tonight, mostly clear. Temperatures will return to the 20s. With your Storm Track 8 weather impact forecast, I'm meteorologist Andrew Stutzky.
Currently, we have sunny skies and a temperature of 45 degrees. Winds are out of the southwest at 10 miles per hour. It's gorgeous out. This weather on KROS has been brought to you by Frary Lumber.
Let your new kitchen or bath tell a story and be an inspiration for years to come with craft-made cabinets from Frary Lumber in Fulton. Craft-made Cabinetry offers a multitude of customizable options for your project. Create your dream kitchen or bath today with the help of craft-made cabinets. Stop by Frary Lumber at 912 2nd Street in Fulton and make your dream kitchen or bath a reality.
The pot of gold is not at the end of the rainbow. It's at Clover Hills Appliance and Mattress Center in the form of big savings. Save on GE appliances, Speed Queen washers and dryers, Sealy and Tempur-Pedic mattresses, along with recliners and lift chairs. Every day is St. Patty's Day at Clover Hills Appliance and Mattress Center in Clinton and Sterling. With better prices and better service than the big box stores, you can't go wrong.
Carrie Donaire in for today's program for Citizens First Bank. Connie couldn't make it. That's too bad. I was hoping to visit with her.
Likewise, she was looking forward to it, and that's just proof, I guess, that there is some excitement in banking. So she had something come up last minute and couldn't make it, but we'll put her on the docket for next year.
You know, I want to just throw this out there. You
Sure.
have so many people who work at your locations. I mean, you're a major employer actually in Clinton.
Thank you. Yeah, happy to be and happy to be growing. We are at 3 branch locations. That footprint has not changed a whole lot over the last 20 or so years, but with 26 years in the community, 2 branches in Clinton and our ATM on 13th Avenue North, just down the road, and then our branch in Comanche. And as far as the number of people and just the team element of CFB, we do quite a bit online. So that digital banking, our digital branch, you know, we have a lot of staff who really are dedicated to the features that are online. And of course, most of us are doing our banking in the palm of our hand. So maintaining the app, and we have a live chat. So staffing that is another aspect of Citizens First that is not expanding the brick and mortar footprint.
There are so many things you can do on your phone now. It is crazy. We were out to see Teresa, and she wanted me to pick her up something from this coffee shop. So I went in there, and I was expecting to pay for her. She already had done that.
Yeah. Just
I go, how'd you
taken
do
care
that
of.
on your phone?
Yeah, same with our Citizens First, app and digital banking environment. Obviously, depositing a check, doing the mobile deposit, transferring funds, and then in transfers, you can also do an external account. So there's some setup you have to go through, but even if you have an account that's not at Citizens First, there are functions within our app that allow you to transfer. And then monitoring that, personal finance manager, we have sort of a pie chart and a trend that you can watch your checking and savings. A feature that I really like and I use is nicknaming the accounts. So if you have, Carrie checking, I have Joaquin's checking, savings accounts that are labeled differently, which all just kind of supports a strategy to save. Well, I could go on and on. That's our wheelhouse, is really making it personalized and custom solutions for our customers.
And with that being said, I mean, you folks do such a good job about fraud awareness as well.
Thank you. Unfortunately, that is something that just hasn't gone away yet. So we really do our best to fight fraud with you. That's sort of our approach, is saying, the customer and the consumer really needs to stay educated and stay savvy and just be a little bit skeptical of anyone who's emailing you, texting you, calling you and saying, you have to pay this immediately. So we're here to fight fraud with you. And one of the ways that's been a tradition for us is really our Community Shred Day. So that's coming up on I think April 11th. I just second guessed myself.
Yeah.
Saturday, April 11th is our Community Shred Day at Citizens First, 9 a.m. to 11 at our Lincoln Way location. And that, obviously everyone has this clutter and you have to get rid of the papers, but most importantly, it's a measure that you can take to keep your personal information secure.
It's great that you do that, but I think one of the most important purchases I ever made was to get a personal shredder.
And do it at home, absolutely.
Yes, you just there he goes, into the shredder.
Yeah, and then you don't think about it again. I think we have tracked the pounds shred over these many years, and it's just this astounding number. But I do see it decrease as people do more their statements online, and people are just utilizing that digital option. So it might not be the whole stack of paper we used to have at one time.
We got to get your song in, and you picked out a pretty good one. You guys at the bank always come up with a good song.
Oh, we take it seriously, you know. And there's not many songs that are exactly about banking, so we have to get creative. But the song today is "If I Had $1 Million" by the Bare Naked
Banker.
That's a great question.
Yes.
I do.
Okay.
I do. I've learned just enough to be slightly dangerous. I mean, I came into my banking career as a marketer. And so first and foremost, I think my true love in my career is storytelling and marketing. And I love the creative aspect. We talked earlier about how Ari and I work so closely together. So I love the creative piece of marketing. But I do consider myself a banker because that's the business I represent. And then those are the teams that I work most closely with on a day-to-day basis. So when we put a campaign together, let's say it was, personal banking, you really get to know the ins and outs of how it works for us functionally, opening accounts and on the back end. And so I do. I consider myself a banker now.
Oh, that's very good. I unfortunately am not going, but Ari said she can Photoshop me in.
Yes.
For the Swish for Make-A-Wish. And I tell you what, the Kings and Queens dropped in a lot of three-point field goals this year.
This was quite a year, and we're so happy to see the results. So today will be our photo op with the Swish for Make-A-Wish and the Make-A-Wish Committee, which is just an excellent group of people doing good work and putting on their events. But this month, Citizens First employees selected Make-A-Wish as the recipient for our Jeans Day. So we actually have 2 checks for them today. We have the check that's from our staff for getting to wear jeans on Fridays. And then we have a big check, $700, going to Swish for Make-A-Wish for all the 3-point baskets.
And the Make-A-Wish program, I had a niece who had cancer. She's doing fine now. It's my brother Mike's daughter, Abby. And they went on Disney World or something like that, and they put you right to the front of the line with Make-A-Wish.
I can't speak for their organization, but from an outsider looking in, I think their priority is making it truly special for the family and for the children who are the recipients of the wishes. And just there's no better gift than to really have that special experience. So whatever the wish is, they make it really count, and I think it's wonderful.
Of course, we got Swish for Make-A-Wish, and of course, Citizens First Down. It plays so well into your name.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. That one is a little bit of a sleeper because I think that, so those funds go to the Gateway After Prom.
Right.
That's a cool program because you have multiple high school families and parents working together for the after prom activities. That I think is a little bit of a sleeper of a program because people see it and hear it during the football season, and then after prom is all the way in the spring. So we need to maybe talk a little bit about that. A little bit more so people realize that those funds are going directly to after prom.
Now, your oldest, is he a junior?
He's a junior.
Yeah,
Yep.
so it's prom.
It's prom for him. I've been talking to him about it. I said, tuxedos, you don't get them at the last minute. We'll see.
What about a date? Do you get a date
I
at
know.
the last minute?
We'll see how it goes. He has not made a priority of it yet, so we'll see.
So they both wrestled.
Yeah. So I have a junior at Clinton High and a freshman at Clinton High. They both wrestled JV this year. And Clinton had just a huge roster, a growing program, a very strong program, of course, with Coach Luters and many coaches, who are very involved in that. So both of my sons had a good season.
What about the spring? They got anything coming up in the spring?
I got them both back on the soccer pitch.
Good.
Yes, I'm happy.
That is great.
It's hard as a parent when you want them to do something, and if they may or may not want to do it, but I got them back both in soccer.
Well, I always wanted Teresa to run track, but she ended up playing soccer.
I played with Teresa.
Yeah, I know
she
you
was a
did.
great player. She was a great defensive player, and she could kind of side tackle just about anybody.
3 boys and a girl, and the most aggressive athlete was the
Teresa.
daughter.
Yeah, absolutely.
No doubt about that.
She's a lot of fun.
Hey, thanks so much for coming in.
Time went fast. Thanks for having me.
Get ready to eat, drink, and be Irish. Join us for the Prince of Peace Irish Auction on March 7th. A night of great food, cold drinks, and strong Irish spirit. This year at the Copper Mill with the cocktail hour at 5 p.m. Dinner buffet at 6:30 with the live auction at 7:30. Tickets are $60 each. Buy a table of 8 for your group. Wear your green and come ready for a shamrockin' good time filled with laughs, bidding, music, and memories. Support Prince of Peace School on March 7th at the Copper Mill. Ladies' Day is going to continue. We got CBS News at the top of the hour, and then up next, I believe it's Snell Zorning. Let me double check my calendar. Yes, it is. Carrie's nodding her head, so I know it's going to be them. It is 10 o'clock. You're in tune to KROS Clinton, Iowa, FM 105.9, AM 1340. It's time for news.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Stacey Lynn. Bill Clinton becomes the first former president in more than 50 years to testify before Congress. That testimony begins this hour as lawmakers question him over his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. CBS's Nicole Killian is in Chappaqua, New York, where the deposition is taking place.
A lot of this stems from photos that have since emerged with these newly released Jeffrey Epstein files. There were some new photos that showed former President Bill Clinton with Jeffrey Epstein, and some photos with unnamed women where their pictures were redacted. There was obviously one where he was in the hot tub next to a woman, so that certainly has raised the interest of this committee.
His testimony comes on the heels of Hillary Clinton's deposition, which lasted for 6 hours yesterday. We're hearing today could be longer. The group formerly known as the Boy Scouts is making some changes to regain support of the U.S. military.